Today on the Nerdy Gritty, with Joker coming out this weekend, we talk what makes the Joker such an iconic villain.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am Dez.
And I'm Fox, and hey, comedies can't exist anymore.
Nope, they're done. You can't
because people are too sensitive. You can't make jokes because people are sensitive.
Hey,
thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time here. No, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm not doing justice to
right.
What I want to talk about here at the beginning is the director of the Joker, obviously, or Joker.
Yeah, we have a Joker-themed episode today.
To me, I think, just a quick aside here, I think it's specifically called Joker and not the Joker. I think that's like an active choice. We can talk about that, but he's the director of Joker, Todd Phillips. Todd! If you don't know, he's very typically, I hope
listeners of our podcast, in the same way that listeners of the McElroy brothers say cotton.
Cotton!
I hope listeners of our podcast cannot say Todd without also saying Todd. Anyway.
He is the director of such hit comedies as Old School,
ooh,
the Hangover trilogy,
those quality comedy genius
Others
movies.
Others. He also made. I did not know this. Okay, he also made. Do you know who G.G. Allin is?
No.
One of the most controversial punk rock and rollers of all time.
Mm-mm.
His music was terrible. He is dumb. Like he was a very broken person.
Yeah.
But for the sake of bringing, being like the rock and roll and punk rock is about going against the system, man, his shows would involve nudity and defecation and self-harm. And yeah, like it's fascinating. It's a fascinating character study, even though it's a real person. Just like read through his Wikipedia someday and just kind of learn about him. But apparently he made a documentary about him, Hated, G.G. Allin and the Murder Junkies. Didn't know that, which actually is interesting considering the Joker's kind of tone that it's going for. But anyway, mostly what he's made are comedies.
Right.
And Old School and like The Hangover are obviously not like fun, safe family comedies for everybody to watch.
Right.
They're also not like, for the most part, shock humor. They're not like trying to gross you out all the time or what, something like that where it's about how raunchy, or it's got raunchy humor, but it's not about that. That's just kind of the tone sometimes hits. But he has said, I'm gonna quote it right here. I'm reading this from an article on avclub.com. Britt Hayes is the author, but there's a quote in here from him. He's talking about in general the problem with comedy in today's quote unquote woke culture. Here we go. Go try to be funny nowadays with this woke culture. There were articles written about why comedies don't work anymore, and I'll tell you why. Because all the effing funny guys are like, F this blank, because I don't want to offend you. It's hard to argue with 30 million people on Twitter. You just can't do it, right? So just go, I'm out. You know what? With all my comedies, I think that comedies in general all have in common is they're irreverent. That's all. There's more I could say, or more we could read here, but that's the idea, is that he has claimed that comedy doesn't work anymore because of woke culture.
Right.
Quote unquote.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, make better comedy.
Make better comedies. Don't just blame woke culture.
Yeah. Anyway, Fox, what have you been up to, man?
I have something to share.
Oh no, you did it, didn't you?
This is a good one.
Okay.
I have a surprise that I've been waiting a couple weeks to tell you about.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I played and completed Celeste.
No way.
Yeah, I have beaten Celeste.
Did you do it with the assist
None.
mode? No assists.
No assists.
No way.
I'm currently
Did you
halfway
record it?
through. Oh yeah.
I in Bloodborne had something happen, and it's a mild spoiler. In fact, the episode will probably be coming out the week that you're hearing this podcast. Later this week, the episode will probably come out.
Yeah.
But so here's what I will say. My favorite NPC in the game.
Sure.
Somebody super cool. I didn't realize that if you go through a series of events and miss some things, that NPC will start a fight with you.
Oh.
And you must kill them. And I had to kill my favorite NPC.
Oh.
And I hated it.
Sad.
I hated it.
Now, was it a difficult fight, or was it like the difficulty was I like you and I don't want to kill you?
It was a difficult fight.
Okay.
Not an unfair one, though.
Okay. Well,
it
sure.
was just a straight up, I got to be super careful. I have to be really strategic.
Yeah.
I got to work super hard. And I beat that NPC the first time.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
But it was definitely a challenging fight.
It's spooky season.
Yeah, it is.
It is officially spook season, Spooktober. So I've been, as I've talked about here many times, I don't do horror a whole lot.
Right.
I've been trying to watch horror movies that are on the periphery, or ones that I know will not affect me. And so there are other movies I'm like, yeah, that's popular. I should watch, or I could watch that. I probably shouldn't though.
Yeah.
And so, for example, I watched the other day, Birdbox.
Yeah.
Did you see Birdbox?
Yeah, I did see that. I liked it. It was good.
I was pretty disappointed by it.
Really?
Yes.
Speaking of movies, saw 2 movies. I watched. Well, I'll say this one first. I was talking to my wife about our satire conversation a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've never seen Starship Troopers.
Wait, okay, hold on. Jackie watched Starship Troopers?
We watch it together, yeah. So I own it. So I just grabbed the DVD and put it in and we watched Starship Troopers.
What would Jackie think of Starship? That's such a divisive movie, not because it's like controversial, but because it's such like
it's a cult classic.
It's a cult classic that's just so over the top.
Yeah.
That I feel like some people just like, I don't like that. What did she think?
She loved it.
Yeah.
It's
a great movie.
It's a really good movie. Yeah. And it's one where I definitely, going through it, I was pointing out the irony a lot of way and the satire a lot of the way as we were going through it, like just the amount of carnage that you're just supposed to accept.
Yeah.
And things like that.
This is norm. This is the norm.
And so that definitely elevated the movie. Taken at face value, the movie is a cheesy sci-fi action flick.
The weird part is that it's half like sci-fi action movie and half like melodramatic
teen
soap
coming
opera.
of age. Yeah.
Yeah, especially even how it's shot. Like all the scenes that aren't like at war action are like super brightly lit, so it feels like it's like a teen drama.
Right, absolutely.
It's so weird.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh no, it's great because of it, but it's weird.
On the flip side, I also watched Selfless, which is self/less.
Okay.
So it is a movie, and minor spoiler to come for Selfless. It's starring Ryan Reynolds, and the whole premise of it is that there is like a secret organization that can take your consciousness and transfer it into these lab-grown humans that are grown for perfection. And therefore, if you are super duper rich, but also you're sick and dying or whatever else, we can take your consciousness and put it in this other person.
All right.
And you have to pretend like you're somebody else entirely, but you can still go back into your job and you can still go back, not like into your field of work and continue to do great things.
Continue your life.
Yeah. You can continue to do great things.
Feels like an episode of Black Mirror or something.
And so essentially, yeah.
I watched another movie yesterday in the realm of not really going to scare me, but horror. And I guess this is, again, not a horror movie, but I watched Scream, the original.
Oh,
I've
that's
never
a great
it.
one.
This is the first one I ever watched.
It's really good.
And it was fun.
Yeah.
I know that this one was kind of a revival of the whole slasher genre, that those kind of died away, and then this one kind of brought it back, but also is super meta talking. Like, there's some really great scenes at the very end where it's just like, one character is watching Halloween and Jamie Lee Curtis, turn around, while a killer is behind this character about to, and you're just like, oh, that's kind of funny. It was also not as like dated as you would think a 90s slasher. Like, to me, like there's some like big cell phones. You're like, okay, but there wasn't a whole lot of like 90s lingo. It didn't feel like, I mean, they weren't teenagers. They were a little older acting like teenagers, but it didn't feel like they were just trying to be cool teens. They were just like acting like their characters and looked younger. Yeah, it was fun to like there are all these little references to other horror movies. It made me. I'm gonna keep watching the series. There are 4 of them now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep watching. I've
only seen the first 2.
What's that?
I've only seen the first 2.
Yeah, 4 just came out like 2011 or something. Like it took a while, but I also honestly was surprised by the ending. I was surprised by who the killer was. No spoilers, but I was just like, oh, okay, you got me on that one. I wasn't like shocked, but I was just like, oh, okay.
Started a couple of TV shows with my wife, Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance.
Sure.
And the story.
I'm gonna assume you've seen Dark Crystal.
Yeah, I've seen Dark Crystal.
I have not.
The story in this is super high fantasy, but good.
Okay.
It's very cliched high fantasy, very, very, elves and prophecies.
Now,
and
Dark
everything.
Crystal was a Jim Henson thing, right? So puppet heavy and
yes.
Okay.
Puppet exclusive.
Okay.
Part of what made the original Dark Crystal flop, though, was the Uncanny Valley. That these puppets, some of them are human-like. They're called gelflings.
Okay.
And they look real enough, and they're meant to like interact in a real enough way that you're meant to think it's real, but like their lips don't move with their words. They just flap their mouths. And a lot of times, obviously their eyes don't track anything. And so part of what made the first movie not do well was that Uncanny Valley. Like this wasn't typical Jim Henson kids puppet stuff.
Right.
And so you weren't there just to laugh. You're meant to take this seriously. And it was just tough to do because
they don't act like serious like people.
It's real enough for you to want to take it seriously, but
you just can't get there.
Yeah, because it's right in that Uncanny Valley, this still has that problem. And then the final season, so the season finale or series finale season of Gotham just hit Netflix.
All right.
And it is meant to be no man's land.
You were telling me that.
Yeah, the Batman
earthquake has hit Gotham.
Except this was an earthquake. This was a terrorist attack.
Okay.
And so essentially imagine Dark Knight Rises.
Oh,
Dark Knight Rising,
okay. So Gotham's
Rises,
kind of been cut off from the world?
Yeah. And by a terrorist attack, Gotham's been cut off from the world. It's now just essentially no man's land.
Yeah.
They do the whole gang thing really, really well. There are some tough Gotham TV show tropes that I got frustrated with. Like there were a couple of like fights and terrorist things, and in the background you could hear sirens and stuff like that. And I'm like, there are no more cops.
Yeah.
Why are there sirens? What is happening
they
right
just
now?
Have their generic,
there's no fire department
ambient
anymore.
Noise that they put in there without thinking about it.
Yeah. And so a couple of things are frustrating, but other than that, it's good. All right, we've been talking for a long time. Holy crap, we've been talking for almost an hour.
That's your fault.
Okay. Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Hello all, we're just going to take a quick break here before we get down to the nerdy gritty and just talk to you about our Patreon. Now, if you're hearing this, that means you're listening to what we call the short version of the podcast, and just want to point out that after this a little ad break we're having here, the actual nerdy gritty discussion, that is not edited. But as you probably have heard, the before part, the intro where we just talk about what we've been up to, that is. If you'd like to hear the extended version, what we call the director's cut, head on over to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/dezandfox. If you become a tier 2 or tier 3 patron, then you gain access to the director's cut every week, as well as all of the rest of the content we put on Patreon. That's bonus episodes, early episodes, demos that we play. A whole lot of stuff gets put up there. In fact, if you go to tier 3, you can put some input in on what we play. But if you can't get in on that, if you can just support us by listening and sharing and commenting on whatever platform you're listening, then we really appreciate that as well. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and we will...
This is over a minute, you amateur.
I have failed, and I'm so sorry. Please don't hurt me!
So, this weekend, The Joker is coming... No, Joker. Joker is coming out.
Joker.
Yeah. Movie Joker is coming out, and there's been a lot of hype about it, obviously. It's meant to be, 1, really uncomfortable. It's meant to be 2, very good.
Well, yeah. You would hope all movies are meant to be good, but
Well,
This
I
one
guess
has the
word
buzz of
is-
being a
yeah.
good movie.
Word is that it's meant to make you very uncomfortable, that it's going to be very good.
Yes. Scorsese-esque.
Yes,
Taxi
Scorsese, yes.
Driver, kind of just that gritty 1970s New York feel.
But at the end of the day, this is in the Batman universe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's about the character, the Joker, from the Batman lore.
Right. And so we want to talk about today, what is it about the Joker that makes us want to know more about him? So many iterations, so many examples, so many actors or whatever else, or even with the comics, there's been so many different types
Right
of
now,
Joker.
it's either right now or recently, there was like
The three
three Jokers,
Jokers.
like different concurrent Jokers.
Right. And so the question we want to talk about today is, what is it about the Joker that makes us love him, or at least maybe not love him?
What makes him so popular, so
yeah,
iconic?
The iconic. There you go. What
Yeah.
makes the Joker so iconic? And so we want to have a conversation about that today. Fox, I'll just turn it over to you first. What are some thoughts you're having? What is it about the Joker that makes us like him so much?
See, I think it's, for me, a lot of it is, there's lots.
Yo, yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of character nuance to him, but I wonder if how much of it, his character, is great in relation to Batman. Because I don't think he'd be that great if he didn't have this. A big thing of the Joker is that he is a thematic and tonal and motivational antithesis to Batman.
Yeah.
Batman is all about self-discipline. Batman is about planning. Batman is about knowing what he's going to do, being trained in all these things, but having a plan. That's Batman at his core, and at least how he acts toward other things and how he fights crime and all that. And the Joker doesn't do that.
Right.
Like, he'll have like a fun gag that he'll pull off or a plan to do something, but his motivation behind it is never
Is because
or even just because Batman doesn't like that, or to be different, or to be the opposite. And so to me, what makes him, okay, we'll say specifically in the Batman universe, what makes him so good as a villain is being a foil to our hero, to being somebody who takes what we are supposed to find so good about Batman, what makes us like him and how he fights crime, and say, no, I'm going to do everything differently.
Right.
And just the chaos that brings into the order that Batman creates or wants to create.
Yeah, let's talk about specifically within the Bat family, the Batman lore right now, because I think that's something that's really important, is that so many other Batman characters, Batman is meant to approach them with his world's greatest detective side. You get people like the Riddler or Scarecrow, Ra's al Ghul, all these people. He can track their plans and find out what they want to do and where do they get their money. And, I found this evidence on the scene.
This is what's in this crime scene. That's probably because it was Mr. Freeze.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. And he deduces all this out. But Joker, number one, has got no problem being like, hey, it was me. Hey,
I'm the guy who killed him.
Hey, watch this. Anyway, bye. And so immediately so much of that plan is kind of tossed out of like, who am I, who is this going to be, how can I figure this out? And then number two is that there's no plan to this.
Right.
There's no idea for Batman to figure out, nothing for him to be able to deduce, because Joker doesn't have any deduction for it.
In the Dark Knight, he describes himself as a dog, as a rabid dog or whatever it is. Like,
I'm like a dog chasing a car. I wouldn't know what to do with it if I caught it.
Which is somewhat upset, or not upset, or just kind of maybe emboldened. Like, when he's doing that, he's like, he then puts the gun up against his head with Two-Face's hand on the trigger, and he's like, do it. Flip the coin. But the whole time he's holding the hammer back so that if you were to pull the trigger, nothing would happen.
Right.
You're like, wait, maybe he does have a plan here? And it's just like, wait a minute. I can't read this guy, which is kind of feeding into the whole narrative.
Absolutely.
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. You don't know.
On a real quick side note, this is trivial, but just about the whole dog thing. One of my all-time favorite commercials is for a car, and its ad was, "It just looks fast." And it's a car that was just parked on the side of the road, and all of a sudden you see a dog just rush out, "Ruh, ruh, ruh," and then you hear whoomp, And then it just says looks fast.
It looks fast. That's funny.
Anyway, so having this, we love Batman because of how smart he is and how capable as a human he is.
Right.
But the Joker is his ultimate foil in this. Batman is probably second in the world's most popular hero, like comic book character. And the Joker kind of foils all of that. There isn't really, there was at a time, in the 80s, the Silver Age of comic where Joker was in it for the money and whatever else.
Sure.
And that Batman could have been like, ooh, his plan is to rob this bank and here's how I'm going to figure it out. But
yeah, he wasn't always this person.
Right, which
he was originally a villain, a clown-themed villain.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to see this individual that is meant very specifically to undo our hero in every way, so good. I really enjoy that. So let's talk about, you said he wasn't always like that. Let's talk about the Joker over time. How do you think, when we get all the way to the original Joker, way back in I think it was the 70s, which he was introduced, maybe even the 60s.
I don't know.
But we get like Cesar Romero in the Batman Batman TV show, Alex West, Adam West, Brute Ward. Yeah.
He didn't want to shave his mustache,
had paint over it. Yeah. You get like Cesar Romero where his whole thing is, I do crimes with jokes. And then now we get utter psychopath.
Yeah.
How do we, why do you think the Joker progressed that way?
Well, it's like with all comic book characters, there's going to be change over time. And because they've always been affected by a myriad of writers. This one, I don't even know. You would be better to know this than I would. I am not a historical DC Batman fan or just somebody who's read all of this. I would imagine that because he was so I feel like a lot of villains are like that. They start out as generic and then you kind of evolve them. Superman was this way.
Right.
He had his motivations, whatever, but his whole I'm an alien from a Krypton that blew up and whatever. That wasn't the start. At the beginning, he was just strong. He wasn't even he couldn't fly.
Right.
He was just strong.
That's
man.
why you hear leaps tall buildings in a single bound.
He was a strong man who could jump really far. That was Superman. And so every character has these evolutions. And I would imagine to a certain extent that the Joker was kind of there to fill in that gap of everything else has such a specific purpose. And we wanted to I would imagine that the Joker was evolved into who he is now because they wanted to have that foil to Batman. To fill that role of, okay, everything else is getting predictable.
I do recognize that there was a time in which the Joker and the Riddler overlapped a lot, where the Riddler
similar and
the Riddler had these riddles that Batman had to solve, and the Joker had these jokes, and the jokes would lead Batman, and both of them are just leaving evidence to their crime purposely to try and outsmart Batman to see if he's smarter than them or whatever else. And so there had to be this active choice of how do we distinguish these two characters. But as far as let's distinguish these characters by making Joker a sadistic murderer. Yeah, I like that idea. I think part of it came because he is a clown. And there was this moment of, okay, we have a smart guy in the Riddler. If we made him a killer or something else like that, he would just be a smart guy who kills. If we did Mr. Freeze as that, if we did Scarecrow as there's so many different, sure, he's a guy who kills, but wait, we have this character here who is almost a representation of childhood innocence in a clown.
Yeah.
And to take that sense of purity that people understand in clowns, at least used to, clowns are terrifying now, that sense of purity that people used to have with clowns, and make that you know what, let's make this person our psycho killer.
Right.
Let's make this one. And they did it slowly over time. And I don't even know if it was purposefully that they did that.
No, here's the thing. He was actually introduced in Batman #1 in 1940.
1940?
The Joker, the original Batman comic. Obviously, that wasn't the first time Batman
the Detective Comics was wild.
But 1940 Batman, and he was, according to Wikipedia, he was introduced as a psychopath with a warped sadistic sense of humor. Now, probably 1940 psychopath warped sadistics, probably not going to be to the extent of Joker in 2019 movie.
Right.
But then He became a goofy prankster in the late 1950s in response to regulation by the Comics Code Authority.
Yeah, Comic Code Authority.
And then in the 70s was brought back to that kind of original like psychopathic.
Yeah.
So it has that like big switch.
So yeah, I have comics from the 90s in which my all-time favorite comic book character, Tim Drake, who was Robin at the time, has to take on Joker by himself.
Yeah.
And this was back before Robin got his own monthly, DC was trying to do some test runs with that. And so there was a Robin miniseries, then a Robin 2 miniseries, and a Robin 3 miniseries.
Sure.
And finally they said, okay, all these are selling really well. Let's give them a monthly. And then it had about 15 years of monthlies. Anyway, there's one in which he has to take the Joker on himself. And the whole idea is Joker's trying to steal money. But in it, he's also crazy and will kill people, no problem at all. And I remember reading that, thinking to myself, like, there's clearly this weird, like, I don't want to say juxtaposition, almost conflict in this character, of which he has
internal conflict. In a bad way.
In a bad way. Yeah. Where he has this very human desire of money.
Yeah.
I want more money. I'm going to hold the city ransom for money. And on the flip side of him just being this absolute psycho. And I think having that kind of conflict really helped him decide, we got to lean into one of these.
Yeah.
And then we get the Joker of the mid to late 90s. And then we move into the Joker, the comic book Joker post Dark Knight went super sadistic and super crazy. But in all of these ways, there's the Joker that, I mean, even in the 80s when he killed Jason Todd, the second Robin.
Right.
For funsies.
Yeah.
He beat a child with a crowbar to death for funsies.
Right.
And we have this character in which we are okay. I don't want to say okay with him doing this, but we expect it from him. And we can see this progression from him being this money-hungry prankster to this absolute psychopath. And now DC, over time, has been able to lean into that.
Right.
And part of the psychology behind it, so I mean, we can even move on a little bit to the psychology of it now. And I was talking to my wife about this last night, is I feel like there's a part of us that understand the Joker. And I think that's what the Killing Joke is all about.
Yeah.
The Killing Joke is the Joker saying all it takes is one bad day, and you can end up like me.
The iconic Alan Moore written.
Right.
You should read that. It's real good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Man. And it's
when Barbara Gordon is shot,
paralyzed,
and eventually becomes Oracle.
Right.
Yeah. Really iconic, like shift in the Batman lore kind of. So the psychology, like, I think that's a really good thing to hit on, but also part of me really likes, like, at the same time, and it feeds into each other, is the ambiguity of the Joker. And largely in the fact that in the vast majority of Joker comic books and stories, we do not know anything about him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in some of the best we do, in The Killing Joke, we learn about who he was before.
Right.
What's his name? His name is Arthur, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arthur Fleck, I think.
Fleck. That sounds about right. Yeah, that's what they call him in Joker. In the movie coming out. But there's something about, we know everything about Batman. We know what makes him tick. We know who he was as a small child.
As of Batman Damned, we know everything about Batman.
Everything. No, we know him as a small child, his relationship to his parents, what happened to turn him into this, who he is, what he fears, who he loves, these kinds of things. We know all of his training. We know his abilities. We know, like, everything about him. And that makes him, just somebody we can be on the side of.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Joker, we don't know anything about who he is in the vast majority of comic lore. Even the quote unquote established, like, backstories, they're always, that's either out of canon or just contradicted eventually, or that kind of thing, like they did in The Dark Knight, where he starts telling different origin stories, which is such a good touch. But yeah, like, to not know anything about, we fear what we don't know. That's just a psychological truth. Like even when it comes to horror movies, when like we were talking about before, not seeing the monster makes it scarier. But also people. We could see this in politics. You should be afraid of people coming into this country because you don't know who they are. Things like that. We fear what we don't know. And if we don't know anything about the Joker, he can become something much easier to fear. Especially if you don't know why he's doing what he's doing.
Absolutely.
You can be afraid that Mr. Freeze has a freeze gun, but you understand that his motivation is to save his dead wife. And that is a reason why he's a good villain, because he has a motivation and he has like some depth to him. That's also a good villain, but there's a different element, a different dimension to something that you just don't know about. And you don't know why he's doing what he's doing or what he's going to do next.
I think part of the purpose of that is, people mock the Twilight series a lot because Bella is not a very well-rounded character.
No.
And the purpose of that is so that the reader can put themselves in Bella's...
Insert themselves.
Insert themselves in the situation. I think the purpose of Joker being such a vague character is because I think there's a bit of him in all of us. Again, I was talking to my wife about this last night, and it's the type of thing in which... somebody cuts you off and you think to yourself, I'm going to kill that guy.
I'm just going to
I'm just going to sideswipe him there real quick. Or, if you're standing at a crosswalk with somebody, there's that little thing in the back of your brain that's like, what if I push this guy right now into the road?
Or, like sometimes, this guy you really don't like has a son-like figure and you just beat them with a crowbar. Like every one of us has been there. We have those things. We've been there before.
No, but there are like... There's this weird part of our brains, all of us that have this, where just every little once in a while, you think like, man, that guy's a jerk. I want to punch him a lot. And you kind of do. You really kind of do.
Right.
And the Joker's almost this, what if you just gave into that side of yourself?
Yes.
That mindless violence side of yourself that does things because the utter chaos. Again, I think there's a little bit of that in all of us. And so when you see Joker, like there's a comic book in which he escapes from Arkham, it's a mass escape, and Two-Face is like, oh, I got to get back to the courthouse, and blah, blah, blah. And Scarecrow's like, I got to go find my fear gas. Blah, blah, blah. And Joker's like, I think I'm going to kill people whose names are anagrams. Bob, you're first. And not anagrams, like, palindromes. Okay. Yeah, palindromes. Bob, you're first. And it's just like this total chaos and randomness of it. And you're like, ha ha ha, that's funny. But then there's part of you that's like, man,
I want to kill Bob.
But like almost like there's a part of me that wants random chaos. There's a part of me that
it's a response to the world as we see it today.
Yeah. And so to see that random chaos put right there, but given into it, it almost makes you a little bit afraid of that side of yourself.
Right.
Yeah. And the psychology behind it is so good.
It's real. It's so different than every other villain. Mm-hmm. Everybody else has a purpose. Everybody else has motivation that you're made well aware of, and it's not a detriment to them. In fact, it's often like, at least it helps you understand them, or even maybe be on their side a little bit. Mr. Freeze, goofy, super goofy, but understanding that what he at the end of the day wants to do is save his dead wife. Okay.
Which actually, I mean, Bruce Timm's Batman the Animated Series really helped flesh out these characters.
Sure. That was such a iconic, like such an important element of the Batman universe
is the animated series.
Is that animated series from the 90s.
There was no Nora Freeze before that.
Right.
Mr. Freeze was around for a while, but he didn't have the backstory of his life. He was just a cryogenic guy who wanted money.
Harley Quinn
didn't exist.
There was a single issue that was, or no, maybe I'm getting it backwards. Maybe there was an issue of something that, anyway, she
was created in Batman the Animated
and then
series.
there was an issue in a series that was from that, Mad Love or something like that.
Yeah. And Two-Face at the time was a former lawyer who had his face burned by a mobster.
Right.
and now he's bad guy.
Yeah.
But then we fleshed out this character with Big Bad Harv and everything like that. But even in the animated series, the Joker didn't get that.
Right.
The Joker was just the Joker.
Yeah.
And for all of us to have these impression characters on us, like, you said with Victor Fries fighting for his wife and Two-Face fighting for that vigilante justice almost. Yeah. Like that fairness.
Right.
Just wanting everything to be fair no matter what. And Joker just is.
Yep.
And so on us who watch the animated series, the BTAS, we still have Joker as just this agent of chaos.
Right. Yeah.
So, which we see in Heath Ledger's version of that.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a little bit, though, about the way Joker's been portrayed over the years.
In film, yeah.
In film.
This will be our fourth actor portraying in a major motion picture.
Oh, motion picture. Okay.
Yeah, obviously you have Cesar Romero way back when, but like in more modern day
Cool.
film, we have we have Jack Nicholson from the original Batman, which we are going to see tomorrow night with a live symphony. I'm very excited for that. But yeah, we have his character. We have Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. We have Jared Leto in Suicide Squad, and now we're gonna have what's his name, Joaquin Phoenix in Joker. Let's just go. What's your favorite one? Why do you like him and why?
So my favorite one's Heath Ledger.
Okay.
And I like this the most because he's the most representative of my favorite version of the Joker.
Sure.
We've talked about Joker over the years as he was prankster guy.
Yeah.
And then he was crazy but money guy. And then he just became crazy agent of chaos. But then as we got into the late aughts and into the 2010s, he became just sadistic murderer.
Yeah.
And it went a little bit too far on that side of things. But sitting in that middle part where he was just this agent of chaos, murder, destruction, for funsies, for honest funsies, because it was funny to him.
Yeah.
I think Heath Ledger really embodied that the most successfully. And so in the movies, there's a point in which he swindles half of all of the mobsters' money from them.
A ridiculous amount of money.
Millions, if not billions of dollars. Then he takes what he needs and burns the rest.
And he sets it on fire.
Yeah, and you can see one of the mobsters like, "Why are you doing this?" And he's like, "Why not?
I don't need this."
Yeah, I just wanted to take it from you guys because it was funny. You see him walk into this meeting of all the mobsters, and somebody's like, "You think you can steal from us and just walk away?" And he's like, "Yeah,
yeah."
Like, he literally says, "Yeah."
That's such a good scene.
So good. We don't want to blow this out of proportion. Yeah,
oh man, so good.
I'm gonna do a magic trick.
I need to watch that movie again.
I'm gonna
now.
make this pencil disappear.
Ta-da!
It's gone.
You ever see the How It Should Have Ended of that, where it's just like one guy in the it's like, no, it just went into that guy's eye. This is lame.
So,
yeah, he was a perfect depiction of the chaotic element that contradicts the Batman that we know.
Absolutely.
In that, it's been a couple years since the Batman has become a thing. He's in the swing of things. He's taken down villains. People are afraid of him. And now, like, he's the thing to be feared. And now there's something for Batman to fear because he can't understand it.
And it's just, it's agent of chaos.
Yeah.
And there's no purpose behind it. And that's what Batman struggle with, is just like, okay, what is his plan? Why is he doing this? And he has to have Alfred tell him, some people just want to watch the world burn.
Someone watch the world. Yeah.
There's no real reason behind it.
Yeah. At the same time as him being such a good agent of chaos, you can tell that there's kind of a point that he wants to make.
Yes.
With like the experiment that he does with the two different it's essentially
two boats.
The trolley problem.
Yep.
If you could switch the track and it would kill one person instead of 5, but you had to switch it, that kind of thing. With the two boats, he wanted to prove that when pushed to a breaking point, people are inherently bad.
Right.
Which was not like there was still no like ultimate goal there. There was no like, and if I do this, I'll make all the money, that kind of thing. It was like wanting to break Batman. Like he's done that in the comics. That's what the Killing Joke was. He wanted to prove that when somebody is pushed to a breaking point, everybody will be like him.
Mm-hmm.
He is just the darkness in humanity.
And this is why Jim Gordon is probably my second favorite comic book character ever.
Sure.
Oh, Jim Gordon is so good.
Yeah,
So one of my favorite things the Joker has ever done is in No Man's Land. 100% guys, please go either read the novelization of No Man's Land or the graphic novel collection.
It's a long series.
Yeah, so I think there's 4 different graphic novels of No Man's Land.
Large, yeah.
if you want to do that and you haven't done it yet, skip the next minute.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to explain something really, really awesome in it. So next minute or so. In No Man's Land, the Joker has been, nobody knows where he is.
Right.
He's been entirely unseen. There's gangs everywhere. There's chaos everywhere. Joker's just, nobody knows what's going on with him. The very end, when there's support finally coming, is when Joker decides to kidnap all of the babies he can find in No Man's Land. And then the Joker assaults a halfway house for a refugee house. There you go, refugee house. And so one of the gangs called the Strong Arms just starts shooting and shoot him right in the head. Oh, but that's not him. Here comes another one. Right in the head. Oh, that wasn't him. And found out Joker's not even there. He's painted the face of a bunch of innocent people with the Joker. And Harley Quinn's there popping their heads up and getting them to kill each other. And meanwhile, all this is going on, Joker's taking all the babies. Finally, Sarah Essen Gordon, this is Jim Gordon's wife at the time, comes, finds this random little hole and hears babies crying, goes in there, and there's the Joker. And it's Christmas Day. There's the Joker with a crap ton of babies. And she's like, why are you doing this? He's like, why not? Everything seemed like it was going to be okay. The government's coming back. Everything's getting figured out. So I want it to not be okay. Catch. And he throws a baby. And Sarah Gordon catches the baby. And he puts a gun to her head and says, Merry Christmas. Boom! Blows her brains out. And then walks up and turns himself in. Every baby is 100% just fine. Doesn't hurt any of them. Turns himself in.
Yeah.
And Batman gets in his face. And Jim Gordon says, no. Cuff him. And oh man, it's such a good moment in those. Okay, we're done with that little spoiler.
But, a little spoiler, but okay. We're pretty long on time.
Right.
Here's what I want to say about
You never told me what your favorite Joker was.
Oh, I mean, obviously it's Heath Ledger also.
Right.
I think Jack Nicholson also did a
close
not
second.
As good, but yes, a close second, but he had a different portrayal, more the goofy, has a purpose, wants to hurt people like because reasons, whatever.
Right.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'm going to make a claim about Joker coming out this weekend. Obviously, we haven't seen it. We're recording this the day before it comes out. We will see it. I'll talk about it. I will see it for sure.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week. I'll give you my review. But this should never, ever have a sequel.
No.
This should be... I mean, I can't actually say that because I haven't actually watched it, so I can't say shit. But there's like apparently a young Bruce Wayne cameo in it or something like that. It doesn't matter. This should never have a sequel. This should be a one and done. Do not make this Joker a villain.
Right.
He's going to be a villain in this movie for sure, but don't make him recurring. That's going to take away the impact of something he does. If he then just becomes like this like regular villain that keeps showing up. Like I would say the same would be true for Heath Ledger. I mean, obviously there's a very different reason why Heath Ledger's Joker was not in The Dark Knight Rises.
But he was supposed to be.
Sure. I would say that would have been a detriment, though.
Yeah.
To make him just this one and done. We've caught him. He's put in jail. It also shows like, hey, your jail / your asylum actually works.
Yes.
Like if people just escaping constantly is a bad thing for you. Like what's the point of this? But yeah, the Joker. I would say for the reasons why it would just become lame for him to just become a villain, but also because you're showing an origin story. This should just be about a character. It should not be this. You should be able to, at the end of the day, disconnect this from DC Comics. This should be a movie about this guy who went off the rails.
I agree.
Yes, and not about the Joker.
Right.
It's about Joker. This person who was pushed to the edge and gave in. Yeah, I'm very excited to watch this movie.
We're both really excited to see it. I could talk forever about the Joker, and I have more still to say, but Fox is right. We are way over on time, actually. Yes. A quick reminder that if you are listening to this and you're not at over an hour and 20 minutes of listening, that means you're listening to our shortened version. If you want to hear our whole hour and 20-minute conversation of the movies and stuff like that we've been seeing, books we've been reading, we'd love for you to head to our Patreon.
Yeah. I'm going to do a quick thing here real quick.
Okay.
Just here at the end. thank you so much for listening. I want to just kind of shout out some stuff that's going up on our channel right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have Celeste going up. Hopefully, actually, the first episode hopefully came out today.
I'm gonna watch that for sure.
But also, my Road to Doomsday has started.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal comes out end of November. I have played Doom 1, 2, 3, and Doom 2016. Recorded all of them. They will be all going up on our channel over the next month and a half. So tune in for that. Dez, you have Bloodborne still going up there. You're fighting all the blood and being born again.
I am just heading to Castle Canehurst right now.
Oh, sure, that part I remember. I didn't
it's an optional area.
Okay,
it's really cool.
Yeah, so you're playing Bloodborne. Our
duo stuff.
Yeah, Zelda.
Link's Awakening
remake is currently in going through up on our channel.
Yeah,
we have a lot of stuff going up at all times.
That's right.
So please, if you listen to this, if you're on the YouTube channel right now listening to it, or if you're on another platform, please go check out what else we've got going on. There probably is going to be something for you. As you can see, we do all kinds of genres on there. So,
we really do.
Yeah, so jump in there. So thank you very much for your support, and hopefully you'll make your way over there.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys, and remember, save games, save lives.
Bye, guys.